everybody, welcome to the Post Show.
Welcome
I'm
to the
your
show
host,
after
Angel
the
Flynn.
show.
Yes, and you guys should know who we are if you're here. If you don't, then why are you here? I mean, well, welcome to have you, but
Yes.
why? This is my kitty Vega. She decided to sneak in here and be naughty, so she's part of the Post Show today. But yes, indeed. So our movie today was Penguin Highway, and look, I thought this was gonna be. Stop that! Stop it! You will be ejected. I thought the movie was gonna be a little kids movie. I mean, it was,
It
but
still is. It still is. It is based off of the children's book. But pretty much, like, I want to give like my final thoughts. It not like full final thoughts. Just that the movie's okay. Like, it's not bad.
I enjoyed it.
There's a lot of moments in it that I'm still not sure about.
You're not comfortable with?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room now. I don't think that it was like we know our smart boy Ayama. Only reason I remembered his name is because there's a My Hero character named Ayama. Aoyama.
Yeah.
I
Aoyama.
can't say it. Thank you. Aoyama.
Aoyama.
Aoyama. I can't say it right now. I don't know
Aoyama.
why. Aoyama. There we go. Aoyama. But he was definitely he had a crush on. I didn't never really caught her name either. Penguin Woman or
there is no name.
dental assistant.
She has no name. Not
Dental
a name.
assistant or Penguin Woman.
Never named.
So
not named once.
He definitely had a crush on her, but that's actually really common in children.
That
Yes,
was
I
not
have
a
children.
crush. That was not a crush.
They don't understand what love is at that age, so they think they might be in love.
Did.
But it's crush. That was a crush. He had a crush on her. But
No,
it was not
I
reciprocated.
really
She
wasn't.
always called him young man. She was respectful of him. She never tried to make any sort of.
She called him. Technically, she called him Shonen, young boy.
I watched the dub. She called him young man.
Yeah.
Young boy is a weird thing to say. That's probably why they
You
changed
say
it.
that.
It
You
probably
say
means
that.
the same thing.
Why did she spend so much time with that little kid?
She was babysitting him.
No, she didn't have to.
Yes.
She didn't have to.
Yes. Do you
She was
remember
never
when
asked
Dad
to.
came to pick him up and he was just
Yeah.
off work?
Yeah, she didn't have to. He just liked hanging out with her because he was in love with her. The dad just let him. The dad was a very laid back guy. Because you get the mom was always home. Mom didn't work. He could have been home with mom. He didn't have to be babysat.
Can you tell me? I cannot.
She was gonna explain. Okay, so would you let?
Wow.
I just want. Would you explain to me? Would you allow some random woman that like works at a dentist's office to get on a train with your kid and take him to another town?
If I trusted her, she's not just. Obviously, she's been in this kid's life for a while.
No, I'm just saying.
Look, all these kids in my
saying.
neighborhood know me, and even if their parents don't me, my house has been a hangout spot. People will come over here, their kids will come over here to hang out with me because I play video games and watch anime. And is that weird?
I'm just saying the kid's relationship with that lady was very awkward.
Look, yes, from an adult's point of view, it was. From our point of view, looking at the kid's affection, it was a little awkward.
Looking how the movie treated it.
She did not reciprocate it. This was written from a child's point of view, though.
You want to argue that, but you are wrong. There were too many moments.
Look, I will say it was a little bit, but I don't think it was written to look like there might have been something, but I don't think she reciprocated. I'm making Penguin Girl out to be the innocent here.
Yeah,
she never did anything untoward. She never even grabbed the kid's hand that I can remember at all during the movie.
Yep. Yeah,
she grabbed his hand.
Yeah.
To walk?
They held hands and walked, yes.
Oh, they ran. They were running.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, that's...
She nuzzled him in her boobs, yes. She placed her head against no.
Boobs are attached to the chest. If I hug somebody,
it was very specifically. It was very specific. It was
don't know.
She took put head
I
in
don't
chest.
think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yep.
If I hug a child, that's where their head's going. When I hug my own son, he is this tall at 8 years old. If I hug him, he's going. This just a hug. That's where it's the boobs.
No. Oh, she was
Look,
very.
but
She
okay,
was
20
very.
minutes into the movie, they did talk about the boy and his friend talked about boobs a lot. We haven't even talked about the movie yet. We've just talked
That's.
about me.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
So
not.
anyway, there's a very
I'm
very
gonna be.
smart boy.
Not much happens for a while. That's
I
what I wanted
thought,
to say.
well,
Not much happens in terms of like progression. You get like a lot of setup. It's all setup. It's setup. It's setup. It's setup. It's setup. It's setup. It's setup. And then stuff kind of starts happening.
but could we like at least give the basis idea? Could you let me? Thanks.
Him and his friend.
Appreciate. Shut up.
Him. Okay, whatever.
I want to do a thing. I'm sorry. I look
You
for
can just
all
talk
of
about
our
this movie by yourself.
for all of our bickering. DC and I get along fine. We play video games and stuff like that
Nice.
after things. We might even play Among Us tonight if he's in for it. But okay. Very smart kid, Ayama, and he's like, "Oh, I have my whole life planned out. It's so many 100,000 days or whatever until I become an adult. I'm very smart.
3,888.
There it is. I will be a very good adult." And it's almost funny how easy he thinks it's going to be. I cannot wait till that boy hits teenage years.
I mean, he
But
he is smarter than most of the adults.
yes, but you're right.
He's not
There's a
wrong.
lot of pretty much the movie actually starts when we get our introduction to our boy, and then he's got his little friend and and the other smart girl in class, and your normal tropey other characters.
Yeah.
But they're going to school and they see some random penguins. What kind of species of penguins? Does it matter?
I don't care. It doesn't matter. They're penguins. It doesn't matter. They're penguins. But it's weird that penguins are in this area.
Yes, it's in Japan. Well, I think it's in Japan. Whatever it is, this is an inland town.
So the basic
nowhere
idea,
near the ocean, nor the Arctic Circle.
This is what kicks off the actual point of the plot, which is Project Amazon to figure out where the penguins are going and what they're doing and researching the penguins. And the kid is only really interested because ladies into penguins.
I don't think he's just interested. Because he saw the penguins the first time he saw them without even knowing the lady liked penguins was, oh, I wonder, because he went home and started drawing. He's got like a little notebook. I think he also was just interested in it because penguins don't belong there. It was an anomaly, and he wanted to research it and study it.
He got far more interested after he goes his friend gets bullied by this one kid, the bully kid, because there's got to be a bully kid.
The bully kid turns into the helper kid, though.
At the end, because blah. Yeah. But they go to the dentist's office where the lady works, and he pretty much only goes there to see her. He doesn't go there for like anything else. And the he's like, "Oh, do you have this disease that I have where they have to pull your teeth out one by one because of this weird fungal thing?" And blah, blah, blah.
He was
blah,
messing with the bully.
Yeah, and he freaks him out. And then she comes out to scold him and reveals that she loves penguins and steals a picture out of a National Geographic about penguins. And that's when he goes home and he just starts booking it, like everything on penguins ever. And he just makes notebooks and notebooks and notebooks.
That's what kids do.
That's not what normal kids do.
That's what... Look, I have an 8-year-old. Okay, I don't know how old our main character was.
Fourth grade. Fourth grade.
Zach is in 4th grade, so that's my oldest child. He has a crush on one of my companions, my friends, and he found out that Jossie likes sewing and Jossie likes this, and then he started asking questions about sewing and being interested in when I have to mend his clothing. Like, yes, kids do that.
Kids don't sit down and start writing like 17 notebooks of information.
Using your own words against you, but they're hyper intelligent.
He is hyper intelligent. That's my point.
So he's gonna sit and
This is important. This is important for later. I want you to admit that argument for later, so that you can't say he's just a kid later.
What?
You have already admitted he's hyper intelligent. We have to accept that. It's a point that's going to come up later.
Yeah, but he's still a kid. As I said about the Promised Neverland, you can be hyper intelligent all you want. Hyper intelligence doesn't really always mean common sense. Common sense is learned through experience, through life, through aging.
Not always.
And so no, but the most of the time. Okay.
Oh, what? You're forgetting the ability to learn from the mistakes of others.
Children
from the mistakes of others.
Tide Pods.
No, teenagers ate Tide Pods.
Children.
It's worse.
There was adults that ate Tide Pods too, but that's a whole...
it's worse. It's worse. You really want to argue common sense with adults that eat Tide Pods? It's not a good argument. Your argument is...
Are you saying you're an adult that eat Tide Pods? Anyway,
no, I'm an adult. I'm an adult that's smart enough to not eat Tide Pods, and when I was a kid, I was smart enough not to eat soap. So.
The forbidden fruits. Anyway,
because I'm not stupid.
So pretty much, as we progress, this is where things started getting weird. Can I jump to where things started getting weird? Can I do that?
You mean whenever it gets to the point where they finally meet up with what the smart girl in the class, he beats her chest. She's like, I want to show you something.
It was about like 15 minutes in.
It was more than 15 minutes in.
No.
Yeah, it was
because I paused it at 20 minutes, and it had happened. And that's when I messaged you. It was like, half this movie's been about boobs, and then it got weird. That was the message I sent to DC.
So 20 minutes in, not 15.
So 15, 20.
That's a 5-minute difference in a 2-hour movie.
5-minute difference.
A long time.
5-minute difference. Moving on.
It is.
So she says, I gotta show you something.
So they go, they find a giant...
We did kind of skip a tiny little part that really doesn't matter in the long run. The one kid, his friend, found a penguin, and they tried to take it to the aquarium, and it got sick and
Well, they weren't taking it to an aquarium, they were taking it somewhere, but they didn't really decide where. But it
talking
got sick
about
and
the aquarium,
turned into a can of Coke.
Yeah, and then this scene happened shortly after that.
And that's because Dentist Lady can make penguins.
When she throws something, we find out later that she has to be happy to do it.
She has to be happy and it has to be light out.
And yeah, it has to be daytime, and it turns into a penguin.
You're wondering why, and the answer is we never find out.
Wow. You're right.
we never find out.
We can throw a blanket over it and say minor spoilers. We didn't even do a spoiler warning, but at this point,
we're discussing a movie. It's going to be spoilers.
Yeah. We could throw a blanket over it and say it's because she's from a different world and it's the ocean and it's penguin energy, but we really...
No.
So, they start trying to figure out what this is.
What the ocean is. They call it the ocean. It's a big old
we haven't got to the ocean, but we talked about the penguins, and so he took a long time researching that and trying to figure out. He turned a bunch of things into it. And then fast forward, and the second smartest kid in class is a girl. And the way he talks about her, he has a little bit of a crush on her too.
Not really.
Because he looks up to her, and she might be even smarter than him.
He doesn't really talk about her from a... He talks about her very analytically.
The dub did. The way his tone was analytical, but the words he said. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Smart girl. I don't know. Maybe we just misinterpreted it differently, which is possible. But anyway, it doesn't. Does it?
Yeah. Well, he just talks about because it's his personality. Everything is analytical.
Yeah. No, I said he did say it analytically, but the words were kind of like, she is special because she's so smart and stands out. She might even be smarter than me, and I got the fact that he kind of cares about her a little bit. Anyway,
that just sounds like an analytical person admitting that this person is just as smart as I am. He puts himself on such a high pedestal as basically, I'm going to be the representative of humanity. So, many women will want to marry me in the future, but I won't marry them.
Child. Children have a high level. They should, actually. It's good for them to have a high level of self-esteem.
There's no. There's a level where you go, it's good to have good self-esteem. It's not good to have a certain level of that. It's not good to look down on others because of your self-esteem.
Yeah, okay, you're right. But anyway,
which is where he's at.
Eventually, him and his friend, which is still smart kid, but not the smartest kid, and smart girl, go off into the woods, and she's not
really shown to be smart. He's just shown to be a kid.
Yeah, he's just a kid, but I think he's not stupid.
We don't know. We don't know anything about him. Name a fact that we know about this kid, other than he likes penguins.
He likes penguins, and he likes research.
Does he like research, or did he just go along with it because of his friend?
Lots of difference when you're a kid. Anyway, so they go out there, and they find this. It looks like a floating dewdrop, and it's in the middle of the forest.
It's a ball of water. It looked like... crap, what was that? It looked like something out of a movie. I can't remember the movie right now. But the big silver ball that just floats there looked like that in the movie. But no, pretty much, yeah, that's when we get like a research montage for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. And
And
it
they
was
just
completely non-essential. I didn't even write it down in my notes. They made this little Lego exploration craft and threw it into the
Yeah.
bubble, and it disappeared. So they're
Yeah.
like, I mean, you gotta admit, for kids, they did the above and beyond what you would expect kids to be able to research for something like this. So,
Well, I mean, American kids.
I guess.
Japanese education
How many
system.
Japanese children have you actually met, though?
Like, if you look at the numbers, man, they kick our ass in everything. Like
Okay.
a Japanese fourth grader kicks the crap out of like an American fourth grader in terms of education. It's crazy.
Well,
They got smart kids. They got smart kids.
Okay, but anyway,
But they put a lot of emphasis on school.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in between it. Might I also mention that my child used my notebook for drawing, so I went around his.
But yeah, what I'm trying to think of like what really happened. Oh, while they're researching the ocean, dudes show up.
The smart girl has a dad that's in the Weather Institute, and he's
Well, I was
a
gonna
big
say
researcher.
while they're researching the ocean, because this happens before, which is when we learn about a special event. The bullies show up to kick the crap out of the kid because bully guy's in love with research girl.
Yeah.
And penguin girl shows up to save them, and then the penguins start attacking the ocean. That's a very important plot point.
Oh, with the penguins, yes.
Yeah, you were just gonna skip that because you're going to the festival.
Look, there's a lot of, and you're right. There's a lot of details in this movie that don't matter, and they do take a long time in this movie to progress. Like, this was a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, it was.
And
it felt like
I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. The pacing was fine, but trying to recap every tiny little thing, you know what I mean?
Well, there's a lot that could have been cut. You could have cut a lot, shaved a half hour off this movie,
But the thing is that it's cutesy, and you're kind of enjoying these characters for who they are.
So pretty much, they find out that the penguin energy that keeps the penguins alive and the ocean are somehow connected to Penguin Girl. We skipped over the scene where he goes to Penguin Girl's house and she falls asleep and he stares at her boobs and says, my mom has boobs too, but these boobs make me feel different.
Yeah,
and also says she has a perfect. She has a perfect symmetrical face. It's genetically perfect, he said.
I mean, her face was pretty symmetrical.
She also, like he says, she also had big boobs.
Yes.
That's
also true.
I was talking to somebody about that, and I was like, I can't believe that this is a plot point of the movie, is that she has big boobs. That's a plot point. That's an important plot point because it leads to the Act 3 moment of our main characters have to have a fight. Which was in that moment where they were like, hey, we should bring her into the research because, she's a part of this. The penguins are attacking the ocean. Yeah. And she's just like, no, I don't want her here because she has a crush on him. And he doesn't realize it because he don't care. He doesn't like her. He likes big boob girl. And she says that.
I don't think he dislikes her. I think he's just so focused on
he doesn't like her that way.
Anyway,
because she even says you only like her because she has big boobs, and he's just like, yeah, they are big.
Yeah, I mean.
That's the fight.
I have a friend who has absolute massive bongazolas, okay? And everybody and their brother is like, you have big boobs, and that's what she says. Yeah, I have big boobs.
It's just
like,
weird
what else
that
do you say? Kids go up and poke her boobs all the time. My IRL friend. All the time go up and poke and grab her boobs, and she's just because they're there.
It's just
okay,
weird.
probably like if your junk was so big it protruded from your body a good 2 feet in front of you, people are gonna notice it.
well, I mean, her boobs aren't that big.
But
The anime girl, they're not that
I'm
big.
using an
I'm just
example.
making the point that it's a weird plot point that this is the reason we have the end of the second arc. Characters have a fight for some reason. It's just weird. It's a
They had
weird
to pick
reason to
something
have
for them
it.
to fight over. Okay.
It's weird. But yeah, basically
So
she's jealous, tells the lady to leave, and he's telling her not to make penguins and shit.
well, the reason why he's telling her not to make penguins, I'm glad you brought that up, is because he's worried that the scientific researchers that are starting to
Yeah.
look into all the phenomenon that are happening are going to find her and use her as a lab rat in experiments and stuff.
Yeah.
Which
And so
is a completely reasonable concern. Which I gotta congratulate the child. A lot of kids don't look beyond what is, kind of an object permanence thing. They can't foresee the future events.
Yeah.
Almost
like he has better understanding than you're giving him credit for.
About what? I'm talking about logic, not love. No matter how smart a child is, they don't understand. Look at Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. He never understood love. You don't even as an adult, you don't understand love. Look how many people fall for the wrong people. Like, you don't, as a child, you definitely don't understand love in the concept of
kid,
love.
Who's smarter than all the other adults. Yeah,
no,
he's smarter than some adults. He even says
look,
so.
he is very smart. Not all the adults.
I do like the relationship he has with his father. He has a good relationship with his father. They have a very...
For once, we have a good parent and child relationship.
Right? He was like, the father in this movie is constantly like, hey, well, what are you doing? The son's like, oh, I'm doing this. And he's like, oh, well, what about, like, how is your research coming? And he's like,
Dad is being a parent.
Dad is just a good dad. He's just like, oh,
I never heard mention of mom. There was no mom, so I imagine he's single dad.
Yeah, there was. No, there was.
Was there?
Yeah, that's why the little sister runs into the room.
Oh yeah, we saw mom very briefly. That's right, mom. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm not going off of notes because we're moving too fast to this.
He says he's gonna do an experiment where he's not gonna eat for 3 days, and the mom tells him, I cannot approve of this experiment.
You're right. There was mom, but she was not anywhere near as active as mom wasn't a bad mom. She was a good mom, just not as actively.
There's also a moment where the little sister came busting into the room crying because mom was gonna die.
Yeah,
and he's like, where's and he's like, where's mom? And she's like, no, he's just like, oh, you mean sometime in the future? She's like, yeah. And I was like, that's a weird moment because we just saw her eating dinner with mom, so it's like, what brought that up? What conversation led to death? Because normally a kid has that response when someone or something dies. And
no,
that's when
my children do that shit so randomly. My 5-year-old, when he was 3, and he was just starting to understand things, and he just looked at me, and he was really creepy back then. This was not even a sad moment. This is just creepy. And he looked at me and he says, "One day you'll die, and I'll have your shoes." And then he walked away. Kids just do random stuff like that.
Okay, but
I know, but I'm getting to it. My eldest, when he like 2 years ago or something, he did come to me crying and his eyes out one day, and I couldn't get him to calm down. He was inconsolable, and I just and he had to take like 10 minutes to calm down. And finally, he told me he was sad because one day we're gonna die, and nothing had died around us. There was no conversations of death.
Had he seen it in anything in media before?
I asked him, and he just said, "I thought about it, and you said you're getting older, so one day you're gonna die."
So see, that's kind of the trigger, though. You said you were getting older. That triggered that in his brain. That's why I'm saying the daughter. Something triggers that for that to happen. Somewhere. There's something that causes that connection.
Well, it could be.
It doesn't just pop in.
It could be something that's completely irrelevant. Just because I say I'm getting older,
it's a weird. Well, no, but it's a weird cut to go from eating dinner with mom to crying because mom's gonna die. I'm just curious what the hell why was that scene added in? Why was it there? What did it add to the movie? It didn't really add anything. It's not really important.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't find any importance out of that movie at all.
It's a very odd scene that's added in just to like have a reason for like what happens at the end to kind of connect it.
But anyways,
so yeah, researchers find orb thing. There's a lot that happens, but it's not really. It doesn't really change
It's
much.
drawn out. The researchers find the orb thing. The town's starting to get all wonky. The orb thing starts
She
to
starts
grow,
making
and
Jabberwockies, which look like seals and
seals.
humans.
They look
They
like
got human
seals,
arms.
humans, whales, and there's just a bunch. It's just a
Yeah.
mismatch of, and she calls them Jabberwockies, and the reason why is because they scared her when she was little from Alice in Wonderland.
Not little.
And
Not little.
not little.
They scared her.
She...
No, she was just reading Alice in Wonderland one night and got scared. That's why she was like, she said she was tired. She was having nightmares about the Jabberwocky. And I was like, lady, you're an adult. It's Alice in Wonderland. The Jabberwocky ain't that scary in that book.
No,
she's got some issues she needs to work through.
Look, we okay.
I'm saying that as someone with issues that I need to work through.
I'm a little jumping ahead with this one. We find out she's not human, but that's
we don't really know what she is. We just find out that basically she has the power to create these penguins or bats or jabberwocks. She can create things. And
she makes bats at night, penguins during the day, and jabberwocks when she's scared.
The kid eventually figures out that because he had this little conversation with his dad about the end of the world, which that was a theme. He was talking to his friend about trying to find the end of the world. Where do you think the end of the world is? All this other stuff. And they're like, well, the earth is round, so there's really no end of the world. And the dad's like, well, maybe the end of the world is hiding within the world. It's like inside a pocket. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense,
Inception.
Dude. Yeah, like what you're saying makes no sense unless we're talking about
Dad was trying to be a philosopher and child was trying to be a scientist.
Technically, he's talking like fourth dimensional, like physics stuff. He's being a scientist still. He's just talking to him. He's trying to explain this in a concept that makes sense to the son. But basically, the kid eventually like has a eureka moment, which his dad tells him he's going off to America or something. He's like, eat well, sleep well, and eventually you'll have a moment where all of the things will connect, and that's your eureka. Which we get his eureka moment like after he gets a cold and he gets visited by Penguin Lady.
In the middle of that was the one I found weird. It was in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
that was
it's strange, isn't it? And then she puts her forehead on his, and he falls. Yeah, it's weird, huh? Yeah. You're starting to see. Maybe it's a little weird.
That one was the one.
Put all the threads together.
Don't think it was
put
sexual.
all the threads.
I
put
don't
all the
think
threads
it
together.
was sexual
all
or even
the
romantic.
Threads are coming
you can
together.
thread your 10,000 thread sheets all you want. I don't think it was sexual or romantic. The woman was clearly lonely.
Till the end, then you see. So pretty much his eureka moment.
The
he
woman
goes
was
off
clearly lonely, and that was like her only friend.
He goes off. They're
which once
trying
again
to figure
makes
out what
friends
it
with
is.
people your own age, but
yeah, there's a
okay.
whole
So the
scene...
scientists eventually find out about the ocean, and they stop the kids from going.
I was moving past that. I was moving past
that.
that.
I know. You didn't say that at all, so I was saying that. I was catching up the part you missed. Scientists find out about the ocean. Kids aren't allowed to go there. And then we move forward. Town's being evacuated because the scientists cannot figure.
That's way past what I was talking about.
Okay, I apologize. Continue.
Well, I'm talking about because he ends up at school. The 3 kids found a Jabberwocky. They get taken by the research team. Smart girl goes to figure out what's going on. Then she sees them because they end up like they're getting taken by the research team in the van. They're like, that's to the forest, and he's like, I gotta go because he's gonna go talk to Penguin Girl. And the 2 nerd kid and smart girl, they go off. She gets mad because apparently jerk dude is like, yeah, we went into the forest and do and there's the thing and do, and she's like slaps him, says she'll never forgive him. He's still in love with her, so he wants to make it up. He's sad, he's hurt, most pain he's ever been in his life. She hates her dad because her dad stole her research. He goes to see Penguin Girl because apparently he's figured out, like, I guess later he figures out what it is during the evacuation. So when it really snaps.
He has an eureka moment at one point. I think he was walking home from school one of the days.
He was walking to school. School.
Yeah, and I don't know where that's at in my notes, but he figures out, and he kind of doesn't even say what it is.
No,
he doesn't.
But
who knows? It's the mystery.
At school's when the evacuation happens, and jerk dude finally turns around and he's gonna help them get out. That's the evacuation.
Yeah.
Because
And
the
then,
orb has literally grown to massive proportions.
oh, it's like bigger than the town at this point. And
And
there was that funny moment when the I found it a little funny. The bully, they had this. The boys had this thing with crunching each other's nuts, like
oh,
a
that was
lot.
because that was literally the only way to escape for them. And I was like, you could
Yeah,
just kicked him in the balls, but whatever.
like
Yeah,
full on. But they've done. They did it
yeah,
to Smart Boy did it to the bully, and then the bully did it to the cop. So, like
yeah.
Smart Boy did it to the bully
Well,
earlier in
that's
the
because
movie.
Cop had
There
Smart
was
Girl.
that one scene that we completely glossed over because it wasn't important, where the bully was picking on him after they beat him up and they tied him
Oh,
to
he
the
tied
vending
him up to
machine.
the vending
And
machine. He
the
says,
penguin girl came over. She's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I figured I'd pretend to be a vending machine for a little while." Like,
yeah,
it
in
wasn't
the
delivered sarcastically. He was just trying to deadpan, not ask for help.
yeah.
Like,
And
let's be
she's like, "Well, I'll have one Coke then." He was like 127 yen.
real.
And
It
then she
was
tried to
cute,
open
but
it, but he was
sorry,
tied to it. Yeah.
I jumped back to that. I thought that was amusing.
So
But
no, I'm skipping over it because there's a lot of those moments with him and her,
yeah,
and there's very much relationship building moments. Yeah,
I
the way
don't
it's
think it's
framed,
any.
yeah, sure.
Yes,
Anyways,
relationship, but it doesn't have to be romantic and sexual. That's what I. But okay,
you're
anyway,
gonna
moving on.
yeah, same with Pochi and the girl from that. Yeah, it was fine. He
He
just wanted to come.
blushed.
He just wanted
He
to come
was
see her later. They were friends. Turn your own argument against you.
different vibe,
So,
man. Vibe check,
uh-huh.
not a vibe, not a vibe. Anyway,
So the end is he goes to her, he figures out he's like he solved the puzzle.
yeah.
And the puzzle is basically the ocean is a hole in space and probably where the end of the world is, and she exists to stop it.
For the
Cuz
most part,
and this is when the movie doesn't make sense anymore.
this was the
This
only
is
part that doesn't make sense. Not the
no no
fact that
no.
she had
Look,
penguin
look,
powers.
look, making penguins, you can be like, all right, we're going to some weird fantasy thing. Like maybe there's an explanation. There's just not. They instead of going for an explanation, they went with no explanation, and she just starts making an army of penguins, and she makes the penguins march and
This was
attack
my notes had
police
at this point
officers.
had lots of question marks.
Because she makes a bunch. Everything starts
Because
turning into
he
penguins.
says like the ocean is a warp space that time doesn't exist in this world, and the penguins weren't destroying the oceans but trying to repair the hole. But that still doesn't make you're
No,
right.
it
And
does.
then
Yeah, explain. Yeah. And then they
look,
start
and
riding
then
on a wave of
she
penguins.
made the penguins, and then she also made the Jabberwocks to eat the penguins.
Why?
So she's
Because
counterproductive. And the
he doesn't
smart boy's
understand.
like, Jabberwocks are my fault because I asked you not to make penguins.
So blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I don't know.
they ride on a wave of penguins,
Yep.
and
And
then time goes fucky.
they jump into the ocean, and then they wake inside.
Don't skip the fact that buildings were just floating in air
Oh yeah,
before they
that
went
was
into that.
yeah.
Just
The
before.
buildings that
That was
were floating
before.
upside down in the air, and the whole town was all kinds of the topsy turvy.
And then they
I
went
don't
into
know.
the thing. And then like when they went into it and it was a space distortion, I was like, I can understand that. I
Now, mind
understand.
you, he had a dream earlier that I
Yeah,
did not
about
even write in my notes because I thought it was complete. It was a dream. The lady was like standing on a beach, and she was talking about that she had memories of
and there
being on a
was
seaside town, and there was a bunch of penguins,
and don't forget there was the telephone poles and the power poles that were coming out of the ocean, which when we get to the end of the world inside of the orb, what do we see? We see that
the
beach
exact
with the
same thing.
telephone
Yeah.
pole. Yeah, exactly.
So they wake up inside of it, and it's just weird structure, and in the distance, weird buildings and stuff everywhere.
Have you ever seen Donnie Darko?
No.
You've never seen Donnie Darko. For anyone who's seen Donnie Darko makes more sense than this movie. And I wish I could explain that joke to you, Angels. I can't. You have to see Donnie Darko to understand that joke. Donnie Darko makes more sense than this movie. And that's a movie that has a guy that follows worms that come out of people's chests.
I thought you were going to say butts for a minute, but...
No, you have a little space worm that comes out of your chest. It literally warps space around it. So it just looks like a weird warp in space. And it literally, like, if you follow it, people will follow that little worm and they'll end up wherever it ends up. So, like, if someone's going to go to the fridge, it'll come out go to the fridge, and then the person will stand up and follow it, and it'll always be at chest level, and they'll go to the fridge.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very weird movie, but it made
So
more sense.
the lady's, with her newfound, not explained at all ability to control these penguins, turns
Yep.
them into a raft.
Yep.
And then they go to
the
some land, and they find a
which
little
is
penguin highway, and they
which
find
is a
it.
yeah.
But they look back as they get on this beach. This is the beach we were talking about. And there's like magical water.
That turns into whales and seals and a
Whales
bird,
and seals and a bird, yeah.
which is what
and
he saw in his dream.
But still, it's weird.
And she's like, "It's like God's messing with us."
Yeah, they didn't. She didn't say that. I don't remember what she said in the dub. Oh, she's like, I think she said the ocean is playing with us. I think that's what she said.
In it, she says Kami-sama. So Kami-sama is Kami-sama's God. So they go.
So
they find this
walk,
research team that
they
got
find
absorbed.
The research, yeah. And there's,
for some reason, the end of
all
the
of a sudden,
ocean is a mailbox. I was trying to figure that one out. You
know.
notice that the source of all the water was a mailbox?
Yeah,
I don't understand it either. I don't know.
Look, I don't know. But then there's all of a sudden thousands of penguins.
And she destroys the bubble with penguins.
But see, here's the thing. They did talk about early. They talked about, like, if you destroy the ocean or close the ocean or whatever with the ocean and make her disappear. And he's like, save a little bit of ocean. And she's like, no.
No, I can't do that. So she destroys it. Everything pops.
Then the penguins
floods the
fly.
Town. Yeah, they fly. Destroys the town. Floods the town with water. The penguins just keep going around popping all the little bubbles. And then those two
vanish.
Yeah, the Jabberwocks turn into water. Those two go to the cafe that they sit at all the time, and they're having a conversation.
They don't just go; they run through the whole town instead of being able to talk right where they were. She drags them through the whole town.
Yeah.
They have a cup of tea or coffee.
Coffee, because it's bitter.
Oh yeah, it's bitter. He likes it black. I would never give my child coffee at his age.
Hey, the dad gave him a cup. He said, "Sure, you want a cup of coffee? Have a cup of coffee."
I mean, like, I'm not judging somebody else who does. I think that's fine.
I like that the dad warned him it was bitter. Kid did not listen.
I would not give my children a cup of coffee. If they are hyper enough, thank you. So she's like, yeah, I couldn't keep any ocean around. Someday, and he's like, it's okay. Someday I'll figure it all out. And
here's the thing.
The penguins are starting to vanish at this point.
Yeah, here's the thing. She knows that she's about to vanish. She gets up, she goes over to him, and she tells him that he has this is what she says. You have a lot of potential. Come and find me when you're older.
She says something very similar, if not that exact same thing in the dub. Because she doesn't understand how I understood that line was she doesn't understand what was happening either. I think she had really, because she's like, I have memories of this town that's a seaside town, and I don't think it's from here, kind of thing. And so she doesn't know what was happening either. She doesn't know where she came from, why she has penguin powers, what's her connection to the ocean. She doesn't know.
I'm sorry.
She wants to know. That's why I got from that. She wants to know.
No, the connection of the two lines, you have potential as a man, come and find me when you're older. Those two lines were one after another.
You have potential to be great as an adult. That's what I got from it. You have the potential to be able to understand this as an adult and help me out here. That's what I understood from it.
No. That was not what that was. That was clearly not what that was. You can really tell.
I don't know. I don't think it's like that.
I've seen enough movies where that happens.
Look, she's fond of the child, yes, but I don't think it's sexual. I don't think
You're just trying to disconnect it. You're trying to look at it from a motherly point of view. It ain't.
I mean, that's my point of view. I'm a mother.
Yeah, exactly.
You're looking at a creepy dude's point of view that doesn't have
because it was creepy moment.
Okay.
Look, I don't want some random person telling my kid that.
If somebody I trusted with my child, clearly Dad trusted her with child.
They don't even talk to the lady. That's
he does.
Problem. Not really. So anyway, she goes outside to wave at him and disappears. Poof.
Yeah. That's it.
And well, eventually he has this like talk where it's been like 400 days or something. It's been a while because he's
Yeah,
got his
about a
tooth.
year and a half.
He's got his new tooth and everything, and he says his line that he said in the beginning: "I'm smart. I'm smarter than most adults. I look
Yeah.
to learn everything every day. One day I'm going to be a great man. I'm going to be the representative of humanity." That's what he says. I'm going to be the
Yeah,
representative of humanity.
and I'm gonna run to the edge of the world, and I'll continue my research. And
he also
one day
said that many women will want to marry me, but I've already decided on the woman I want to marry.
Now, there's a difference there. In the first time he said that, it focused on the penguin lady. The second time he said that, it focused on Smart Girl.
Yeah, but the problem is that he said, "I will find the end of the world. I will find Penguin Lady, and I will tell her about my adventures to get there, and I will tell her what I went through and how much I loved her."
That does not have to be disgusting love, though. My children
It's the
love
connotations, and
my
you know
friends.
it.
No, I don't.
You don't want to
Okay,
admit
look,
it, but that's the
he had a crush
connotations.
on her. Yes, I will tell you that all day long. And he probably thought he loved her like that. But
Still,
they don't.
yeah.
Kids don't. He probably
Anyways,
thought he loved her like that. He doesn't know what love is.
you want to keep assuming that, but okay. That makes you happy. Made me uncomfortable.
Look,
From
I
what
understand
happened
why.
in Lou over the wall,
I'm
and
not
what
telling you
happened,
you're wrong for being uncomfortable. I agree with your feelings of uncomfortableness.
it's just
It
a
was,
little weird
but
when it's a
I'm
little
just
boy
saying.
and an older woman. You get all weird about it, but when
I
it's
don't.
two older boys and younger girl, I'm calling you
No,
out.
that's not. You're not even letting me finish my sentence.
Yeah, because I'm calling you out.
I'm saying the way it was written, it was not incriminating to the woman. Yes, the boy had a crush on her, but I don't think she was like that to him. Look, he was.
I don't think Lou liked that one guy that way.
Yes, she did.
I don't know, though, because Lou didn't understand nothing.
No, she didn't, but she also was like, there was no kissing in this movie either. It was not overly romantic, overly over the top.
No, that's where they had a line, and I appreciate that line. Lou over the wall didn't have that line. Need to have
Then
that
why
line.
are you still shitting on it so hard? Like, I understand, as I said, I understand why you're uncomfortable, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't think this woman was as much as, I think she was not, like, she should have been able to draw the line herself as an adult.
She
if I have a child
at some point.
Yes, she probably should have, like, don't forget, buddy, we're just friends. I am not debating that with you at all, but I also do not think that she was romantically or physically attracted to this young person in any way.
It's weird that she didn't draw the line, though.
There was a lot of weird things in this movie. I'm not defending her choice. I said she should have, but I don't think she was in it for that reason.
I am pretty sure I could show this movie to a few people, and there would be enough people that agree with me.
I will show this movie to a few people, and we can reconvene in a later date and get polls.
I'm not gonna show. I will state that I don't know. I give it like 7 penguins out of 10. I don't think it's like a great enough movie.
No, I find your rating system to be hilarious because I was gonna give it 7 penguins out of 10 penguins from the very beginning before we even started discussing it.
Well, we generally just pick
and you shit on the movie, and then you give it a decent rating.
I didn't shit on the movie itself. I just didn't like that part.
You shat all over this movie. You used this movie as toilet paper to clean up your diarrhea.
No, because I liked the artwork. The art was beautiful.
Art was gorgeous. The music was gorgeous. The dub was. I know you didn't watch the dub, but the dub was great.
I cut points off. Like, I don't mind confusing. Like, I don't mind it. That doesn't remove points for me. I just because the end of the movie, I was like, I don't know what's happening, but it's interesting enough to let it go. So I don't remove points for that. I remove. So
is that what kept your score decently high, even though all of your criticisms for it? Is it because it kept it interesting?
Well, I'm only going to give it criticisms because those were the interesting parts of the movie to talk about. The stuff that I like, it's not really I save that for the end, where I talk about how the artwork was really nice. I liked a lot of the way characters acted was really good. Like the way the research father acted, he acted like you would expect a researcher to act. The way the father in the movie acted, he acted like a really good father. The mother acted like a really good mother.
People
the sister,
were not
she was
written
cute.
Badly for plot points.
No,
all the people were written like people.
The sister acted how I would expect a little sister to act, especially like, attacking her brother to wake him up, and then when he responds in kind, she cries wolf, like, let me out, let me out, let me out. Yeah,
my
that's fun.
children
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah, that makes sense. I was like, everything, it feels very, very natural. So it was good. It was well written. But from that perspective, that's why I say it's a 7 out of 10. It's an all right movie. It's not something. It's not something I'm probably going to come back to.
I'd watch it again.
I don't think it's something I'd come back to. Those have to be.
I don't think I would watch it again with myself. I think I'd watch it again. Like, my kids watch some of it and they didn't get to finish it and they want to finish it later, and I'll watch it with them. I'll play on my phone when it's in the background. Or my friends, I talk to them about it, and they said, "Oh, we want to watch it."
I think this is the highest we've rated any of the movies so far.
I think so.
I think they've all been like 5 and 6, and Lou Over the Wall was
really
really
floating
low.
around the 5 and 6.
Yeah, this was a 7. This is definitely a 7. It's decent. Like, you guys might not understand. I am a critical person first and foremost.
You don't say.
The first thing I get out of the way is criticism, and that's because you have to be able to criticize even things that you like. Like, I can criticize One Piece, and I can say where it is I don't like things, but at the same time, there's enough that I like or enjoy in certain things that I'll talk about that too. Yeah, I'm just saying as an example because I talk about One Piece a lot. But there's moments where you have to understand that you need to be able to criticize the bad things, even in things that you love. Because
I agree with you. Because nothing is ever 100% perfect.
Yeah,
nothing can ever go without improvement.
Yeah, and it's when you don't see its own faults.
This movie would have been probably a solid, at least an 8 for me, if the woman would have drawn the line at some point and reminded the child that.
I would have given it more points if she had drawn the line. I would have given it more points if the movie had cut out some of the filler. Like, if you knocked out a half hour of this film.
I did mention that this woman was odd and that this child was her only friend. We didn't see her really with anyone else.
Yeah, I know. That's part of the reason why I
really think that she was just either a little bit loopy or completely alone in the world and only could relate to this small human person that could also relate to her in their own.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I'm not
weird
saying
no
that's
okay.
It's
but
weird.
No matter what, the relationship is weird.
I think that she's some sort of she's just different.
I don't even know if she's a thing that actually exists. I don't know. It's
I was wondering that. I'm like, can anyone else see this woman at some point in the movie? But somebody else talked to her or something.
But that's it. That's all. That's our final thoughts.
Final thoughts is
if you love something, be
good movie. As I said, it has its faults. Go check it out for yourself if you got 2 hours and want to. It's visually stunning. The story is invested. It's investing.
There was a lot. There was a lot more to discuss, at least in this film. I really like that. There was a lot to discuss.
There was a lot, and we criticized the filler, but it gave you a broader glance into these characters too.
Yeah. So yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, hopefully, and see you guys next time. Thanks for being Patreons. Thanks for being here. If you're here,
your family.
There you go. Bye-bye.
Bye.